Hey everybody on YouTube or watching this video. This is an important video I think that needed to be made about black pepper and turmeric. And before we begin, this video is for information purposes only. You should always consult your doctor before doing anything. If you look on a lot of turmeric bottles in the grocery store, health food stores, things like that, a lot of them contain black pepper. And the way black pepper works is it actually blocks something in your body called glucuronic acid. And glucuronic acid is actually used to metabolize drugs, and it's very important for the metabolization of estrogens. So in our office we do a lot of tests on something called a total estrogen count. And it's not estradiol, it's actually the total estrogen count. And we see a lot of people that were really high in estrogens. That's probably, I think, maybe because of, possibly because of plastics or, makeups or moisturizers that contain estrogen or unprocessed hormones and stuff in the body. And so what glucuronic acid does is it allows you to process those hormones. I've actually seen women that were taking turmeric with black pepper and affected their cycle, and it wasn't in a positive way. And then as soon as we got them off of black pepper, their cycle actually changed again to normalize, because the processing of the hormones chemically requires you to process with glucuronic acid, which is what turmeric blocks. So it's very important to know this because it can also affect the metabolization of your drugs or medications that you're on. It can actually make the drug last longer in the bloodstream. If you're on any medication, it's something you definitely need to tell your doctor about, or if your doctor watching this video, it's something you need to know about your patients. So if someone's taking turmeric and black pepper, there's a thing called piperine that's from the black pepper that actually blocks one of the detoxification pathways in the liver. So everybody asks us all the time, they say, why don't you put black pepper in your turmeric? And this is the reason why, is because I don't think that's a good thing. I think that you have to get the body to process. It's one of the pathways, I think, in today's society that really needs to be supported. In fact, if you're really curious about this, look up something called glucuronic acid. I'll put it in the link below so you can get the spelling right. And look at how important that function is of that compound within the processing of the liver. And I actually think it's not a very good thing to be taking black pepper every day with something. I think small amounts is okay, but if you use a little bit of black pepper, it really affects the processing of compounds in your body. And I think it's actually better to do different compounds. So one of the things we get is that question. What I've found, what I think with patients is usually turmeric seems to be a bile stimulant. That's well known. Basically, if you look that up, you can see that. Typically, patients ask us, like, what historically would have turmeric been used for? And one of the things that I think it's used for was food-based turmeric. I think is very efficacious, probably for digestion and stuff like that. It's probably the case, based on patients that have told me what's happened with them. But the potent anti-inflammatory effect that a lot of people talk about with turmeric affects the NF-kappa beta genes and stuff like that, is that we found out that instead of stopping a detoxification pathway in the liver, we actually found out that it would be better if we could bypass the pathway altogether. So basically what we did, we made something called a curcuminoid. So if you've been in our office, you've probably seen this stuff. And so basically this is a oil extract of the curcuminoid compound. But the curcuminoids are actually the compounds in turmeric that are supposed to have that anti-inflammatory effect or that calmative effect in the body. We found out if we put that in an oil diffuser and diffuse it into the membranes by people breathing it in, that we could actually bypass the liver altogether and get it right into the bloodstream. And it was a better, I think, option rather than blocking the liver and then affecting hormone metabolism or something like that. So it's very important you know this because it's an important aspect of health, especially today from the blood tests I've read and things like that, is that hormone processing, the ability to process hormones, is an important thing to know. And basically it's a very important thing to keep functioning. So if you're constantly doing a piperine extract, it actually blocks that pathway from working. In fact, with some women, if they have estrogen tests that weren't normal, I take them off pepper because it actually blocks the pathway. So I want to make sure that that's good. But by and by, you see this kind of thing happening. But so that's the difference. So people say, like, so when would I take like a capsule extract versus a liquid extract? And so the patients that I've seen actually say, like, they were using, historically, turmeric has been used in its basic forms for stimulating digestion is what it's traditionally been used for. Again, these statements aren't evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, just so you know that. But the other thing is that when we used it as a liquid base, and we diffused it through an oil diffuser. It kind of makes your house smell a little bit, but if you have some essential oils with it, you won't really notice the smell. It has a woodsy type of smell to it, but the curcuminoids can go in through the membranes in the nose and actually go right in the bloodstream that way. So that's the way we found that turmeric's actually been better. So a couple interesting things I just wanted to show you so you guys know this. Curcumin, the compound from turmeric, actually also has an effect in one of the literature. We'll put these studies below so you can click links if you want to download it. It actually has an effect on candida. So if you're one of the people talking about, like, yeast and stuff like that, in lab studies, actually turmeric can actually have an effect on the growth rates of yeast cells. So that's something not a lot of people talk about with turmeric, but actually might have an effect on candida and stuff like that. The other thing that's really neat, one of the best studies I ever saw, or one of the neatest articles I ever saw on turmeric, was this article here, which actually will be down below. And so basically, there was a thing that happened. They took 107 patients that didn't have good knee function. And so basically what they did was they took turmeric extracts within the body. They did 2 grams per day for 6 weeks, and they compared it to ibuprofen for the knee function. So it was 2 grams a day. They did that for 6 weeks, and they did that. And the study says, which I'll show you this in the video, and you can also download the study from our website, they said that Curcumina domestica extract was actually the name for turmeric. It says, seems to be similarly efficacious and safe as ibuprofen for the treatment of the knee. So it actually, in a study, they found that it worked just as well as ibuprofen. And the thing was, I think it was probably a healthier thing to do. But it's a pretty neat thing. So if you want to read this study, it's a pretty cool thing about knee function. And so hopefully that helps you. And I think if people are taking a lot of black pepper, if you really read up on what black pepper does and how that actually affects turmeric, I don't think it's the best thing to be taking every day, because in today's society, I think there's a lot of estrogens. There's a lot of xenoestrogens. People are on a lot of medications. They can actually affect the processing of that medication. And it's important that the liver is able to function correctly. I always tell patients, like, we're breathing car exhaust just walking around the city. And to some degree, you need glucuronic acid to process that. So why would you ever want to block it? And so basically, make sure you know that and investigate that black pepper actually blocks the detoxification pathway in the liver. And so if you're a woman out there and you want to, if you're open to the idea of trying, like if you're eating a lot of pepper on your food, sometimes you pull the pepper out, the body can process estrogen better, because that's chemically what black pepper does. So hopefully this is helpful video, and if you have any questions about this, we can go from there. But we're in Lakewood, Colorado. If you're ever curious about things we do and stuff like that, we love showing patients all these things. But again, this is Nathan Kennedy from Kennedy Wellness Labs. Thank you.